No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to bronze.
I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. You're looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Said I might be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get to glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't get mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't get mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to bronze.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
Good evening, everybody, assuming you live in the UK or in Europe. If not, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be, wherever you live in the world. Big game is almost upon us. North London derby, Spurs versus Arsenal tomorrow, 2 p.m. kickoff in the UK. There's a lot riding on this game. Can Ange prove that his system works? Can Arsenal overcome a couple of injury setbacks and prove they're genuinely title contenders? We're going to find out tomorrow. But this show today is about comparing the stats between the two teams. I saw a show on Sky Sports the other day, and it was actually quite interesting. And I felt I wanted to talk about some of the data that they were showing and actually show the comparison between the two teams and what the difference actually is going into this game. But before we begin, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Let's say hello to everyone in the chat. Big up, Eugene. How you doing? The Uphill Gardener. What a name that is. Big up to Graham as always. Sheriff. Bertie Hotspur, how you doing? Henry's in the house. Jimmy Hotspur. We've got Robert. Robert, hope you're doing well. Cambo. Rich is everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see Rich. BX Gunner 81. Tommy G, he's everywhere as well. Tommy, everywhere Tommy goes, I tell you. Angus McDowell, another one that's everywhere. Big up to Angus. Christopher, how you doing? Big up to all. He says, yes, yes. Big up to every one of you. Paul, how you doing, my man? Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Look, let's get into it, because I know the Chelsea game's on, and as much as we hate the Chelsea, it's probably a game that we want to see as well. Big up Anthony right there at the end. How you doing? How you doing? Now, where I want to begin is to look at the attacking side of Spurs and then compare it to the attacking elements of Arsenal and the attacking elements of Spurs. Then I want to do a defensive comparison. And then I actually want to look at the key injuries missing, which are Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, and Basuma, and actually see what impact we can expect that to have on the game. So let's begin with Spurs. Now, the first set of data I want to look at is Tottenham's starting distance for their attacks. Now, if you look at the bottom of the graph, you'll see different years. So 1920, which is when Mourinho was in charge, 2021, which was Mourinho stroke Nuno, then 21-22, 22-23, which is Conte. So you can see the first set of years, Spurs were between 41 and below 40 meters from goal when we began our attacks. Now, you can see in 22-23 where Ange Postecoglou took charge of Spurs, our attacks now start much higher up the pitch. You can see a big jump on the graph. The leap is about 6 meters, which you might say, well, that's not far. Well, that's actually quite a bit. When you think a pitch is, what, about 100 meters? Something like that, maybe a bit less. 6 meters is almost 10%. Not quite 10%, but we are starting further up the pitch with our attack. So that means the whole team has been pushed higher up the pitch by Ange Postecoglou. So if you want to be on the front foot, if you want to be closer to the goal when beginning your attacks, we're definitely doing that under Ange, which is one of the reasons why a lot of fans say we're more attacking. It's because we're higher up the pitch. And on the eyes, it looks like we're higher up the pitch. And we are. The data proves it. Okay? The data proves we're higher up the pitch. Yes, there's some of you saying that Declan Rice isn't injured. I apologize. You know what I mean, though. He's not playing, right? He's missing. Declan Rice is missing. So, let's look at our players when receiving the ball under pressure. Now, in the final third, so we're higher up the pitch, when the ball comes to our players who are under pressure. By the way, when receiving the ball under pressure, that effectively means when a player's marked or when someone's able to put in a tackle or a block. And you can see that the best player at receiving the ball under pressure in the final third in the league is Kevin De Bruyne. But the next top 3 players are James Maddison, Heung-min Son, and Pedro Porro. Then it's Bernardo Silva for Man City, and then Diaz at Southampton. So out of the top 6 players in the Premier League who receive the ball marked under pressure, high up the pitch, and remember, we start higher up the pitch when we attack, we've got 3 out of the top 6. So 50% of the top players in the league at receiving the ball under pressure are Spurs players. That's actually a very good stat to have. As long as they can score goals or create once they've received the ball. What is really surprising is Pedro Porro is the 4th highest in the league. And just so you know, no other defender came close to the top 10. In fact, Spurs are the only team to have a defender in the top 10 who receives the ball under pressure when marked in the final third. So again, when we say Spurs look more attacking, Spurs are better this year, look at the possession. I think a lot of that comes from the fact we are pushed higher up and we've got 3 of the top 6 players in the league who can receive the ball under pressure and keep possession up high. And that's effectively what this is showing us. I never thought we'd have 3 players in the top 3, in the top 6, in the top 10 even, more than Man City. I mean, that's pretty surprising. I bet you're surprised by that, because I was when I saw those stats. I thought, really? There you go. There you go. So perhaps people that criticize Maddison, maybe you shouldn't be criticizing him as much, because he's the second best player in the league at receiving the ball under pressure in the final third. Okay, not in midfield, not deep, but in the final third. Let's look at total sprints. Tottenham Hotspur complete more sprints than any other team in the Premier League except for Liverpool. Now, this could basically show us 2 things. One, we attack a lot down the middle, down the flanks, and there's a lot of sprinting going on. Or there's a lot of running back because the high line, and we're getting caught out and we're having to sprint back and defend, right? So this can be seen 2 ways. What's interesting is Arsenal is way down the bottom. And what that suggests to me, Arsenal have only made 389 sprints compared to Spurs' 507. What that says to me is Arsenal are a more controlled team. They're a more balanced and controlled football team, whereas Spurs are either explosive in attack and then really erratic at defending. And Liverpool weren't far off. Liverpool weren't far off. So this one's interesting for 2 reasons, because Arsenal and Spurs are 2 very different teams when it comes to the sprints. And I would put this down to Spurs being more explosive when trying to go forward, and Arsenal being a more controlled football team, not so much panic in their ranks. So let's compare the 2 teams in terms of the attacking comparisons. Now, for possession, last season, Spurs were the 2nd highest in the league. Arsenal were 6th, not even top 4. But this proves possession isn't everything, because Arsenal finished 2nd and Spurs finished 5th in the league table. In terms of forward passes, Spurs much better than Arsenal. In terms of shots, teams are 3rd and 4th in the league, so they're the 3rd and 4th best teams. Arsenal definitely take more shots than Spurs, though. Final third passes attempted. Arsenal 2nd, Spurs 3rd. Now, this is quite surprising, because we've got 3 of the top 6 players in the league at receiving the ball under pressure in the final third, yet Arsenal, final third passes attempted, 2nd, which means they're trying a lot more, but maybe they're not as successful because they haven't got players that actually get control of the ball when it comes. So this could be an area where Spurs excel in terms of actually receiving the ball, as opposed to just attempting to make that pass. Touches in the opposition box, Arsenal came top in the league, something we are definitely going to have to worry about, although we may not have to worry about it as much, because I'm going to show you something about Odegaard, which really blows everyone out of the water. Spurs were 4th in terms of touches in the opposition box. Direct attacks, Spurs were number 1 in the league. Arsenal 3rd. So when you look at the attacking stats, Spurs are better. We came 2nd, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 1st. Arsenal 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 3rd. So Spurs just edge it, but it's fair to say that, do you know what? Both teams are very, very similar. So in terms of attacking, both teams offer similar stats in terms of possession, passes, shots. But at the end of the day, it's goals scored that matters. So unless you put the ball in the back of the net, all of that means nothing. But the teams are finely balanced in that respect. Now, I want to go into the defensive stats, because something surprised me a lot about Spurs. Others didn't at all. So let me show you the ones that surprised me. Tottenham Hotspur are number one in the league this season at high turnovers. So Spurs win more turnovers of the ball, so converting out of possession into possession, more than any other team by a country mile higher up the pitch. And this aligns with that. If we start higher up the pitch, we should probably be winning the ball higher up the pitch. Otherwise, how are you starting the attacks unless you just won the ball? So the reason we are starting more attacks higher up the pitch is because we win the ball higher up the pitch. This means Spurs' pressing game right now is number one in the Premier League, followed by Man City. And we actually we've won so far this season 14 more balls higher up the pitch than Man City. And Man City are a phenomenal team. So this is a very, very impressive stat in terms of our pressing game and our ability to convert that pressing into possession. And it proves why this is also happening. These are how many passes the opposition makes before Spurs and Arsenal win possession of the ball. So on average, this season, we've allowed the opposition to only have 6 passes before we win the ball. So why are teams having so little passing possession before Spurs win the ball? Well, it's because we've got higher turnovers, higher up the pitch. Why? Because we're starting high up the pitch. So by pushing high up, our pressing game is converting the most of being high up the pitch into possession, and hence why teams have the least amount of passes against us per defensive action. Arsenal are the second best in the league, by the way, so let's not just pretend that Spurs are the greatest, because Arsenal aren't far off. And then Southampton, Bournemouth and Chelsea are the next 3 teams. So I think overall, what I'm trying to say here is the one thing Spurs are really, really good at is pushing up high, winning possession high, and creating attacks high up the pitch. And you always want that to be the case, because the higher up the pitch you are, the closer you are to the opposition's goal, which means there's less distance to travel in order to get to the goal. Whereas if you're winning possession deep, where a lot of our attacks began with Mourinho and Conte, you've got a much greater distance to travel, which is why we played long balls to Son and Kane, because that's the quickest way to get a ball forward. But under Ange, it's different. The attacks are starting much higher up. We're winning more balls higher up the pitch than anyone else. And we give the opposition the least amount of passes before we win the ball back. These are all very impressive stats, guys. This is very, very good. However, this is where we are in trouble. Let's get deeper into the defensive stats, because pressing and winning the ball high up is part of defending. Modern day football, defending starts high up the pitch. So the closer you are to their goal is where you begin to realistically want to defend. So pressing is a form of defense. Winning the midfield battle is a form of defense. Your back four defending when they're under attack or counter attack, that's a form of defense. The goalkeeper making a save, that's a form of defending. You want your goalkeeper to be the last person to defend. The first group of people you want defending are those up top, which we're doing extremely well. Best in the country. But we've only played Leicester, Newcastle and Everton, so let's not get carried away. However, this is bad. This is really bad. Transitions reaching the final third. So when a team essentially counterattacks us and they get into our final third, so they get in and around our penalty box, we are the 5th worst in the country, which means when we lose possession, there's an extremely high chance you're going to get into our penalty box, which is what we've seen. And this is why we are conceding goals the way we do. We are just not good in the transition, guys. The high line is a massive factor in this. Massive. Man United, the worst. Brentford, the 2nd worst. Wolves and Newcastle, 3rd and 4th worst. Spurs, 5th worst in the country. So there comes a price to pay with the high press, the high turnovers, the least amount of passes made before we get the ball. All these positive stats are resulting in us being pretty bad on the transition. Now, this can come down to a number of things. One, we're too risky. Two, the inverted fullbacks expose the flanks. Three, we don't actually have a proper number 6. When we do play a number 6, he plays too high up. And 4, the high line. And 5, defenders not doing a good job switching off. So clearly, Ange Postecoglou, when it comes to attacking and doing all the things you want the attack to do, although we need to finish these, we need to put the ball in the back of the net. That's the most important bit. But other than that, which we can't just dismiss, but other than that, everything else, we're really good. Really good. Defensively, we're a shit show. We're an absolute shit show. And when you look at the defensive comparisons, now you're going to see how bad it really is. Goals conceded last year, Spurs were the 7th worst. Arsenal the best. Expected goals conceded, Spurs 14th. 14th. Arsenal number 1. Shots conceded, Spurs 7th. Arsenal 2nd best. Shots conceded inside our penalty box, we were 9th. Arsenal number 1. Set pieces, we were literally bottom of the league. Shocking, although this seems to have improved this season. Arsenal 2nd best. Total tackles, Spurs 5th. Arsenal number 1. So when you look at the defensive comparisons, Arsenal were literally first for everything. And when they didn't come first, they came 2nd. That is formidable. This is why Arsenal are 2nd in the league 2 years in a row. And this is why Spurs have failed to get top 4 and collapse in cup games, because look at our defensive comparisons. 7th, 14th, 7th, 9th, 18th. This is poor. Poor. So from being really good in the attack, as in really good Tottenham, when it comes to defending, we're horse shit. We're absolutely dog shit. And this has been my criticism of Ange Postecoglou. There's no point with all this attack if you can't defend. These stats need to change. And I'm not surprised by these stats. I was a bit surprised by the attacking stats. They're better than what I thought. And I think it's better than what I thought because we're not putting the ball in the net. So I kind of feel that it's not working. But maybe if we put the ball in the back of the net, I'll change my mind on it. But we need to score goals in order for this, and this to make sense. We've got to put the ball in the back of the net. However, even if we do put the ball in the back of the net, if this doesn't fix up and this doesn't fix up, it's not good. I mean, you're not going to score 3 goals every game, Tottenham. We're not. We need to learn to defend, which means Ange needs to tweak the way our players move, as in both fullbacks inverting, the 6 going too high up. And he needs to change the tactic of the high line, especially when Van der Ven is injured. All the data proves it. All the data proves it. Let's see a couple of your messages, boys and girls. And then we'll go through the Declan Rice, Odegaard and Basuma impact. Alrighty. Richie. Well, doing well. Just need to figure out how to attack and defend. Yeah, basically, yeah. Ball in the back of the net is the only attacking stat that matters. Absolutely. Spot on. When it comes to results, yes. But when it comes to analysis, no. But you're right. When it comes to results, I agree. You haven't got to be dogmatic playing counter solid at the back. Fast, crisp passing, great movement. That's what we need. I think you need to know how to defend as well. Kane's first hat-trick of the season. He's left. Don't worry about Kane. Oh, sorry. So how would you say Ange is going to put 3 goals past Arsenal? So how would you say Ange is going to put 3 goals past Arsenal according to Ange? I don't think we're going to score 3 goals. I don't think we're going to score 3 goals. Our squad is much better suited to a counter-attacking style. If we played 2 up top, Son and Solanke, then yeah, I think I would agree with you. We sadly don't have the quality to hold the ball and pass it around. We do have the quality, but I don't think we've got the ability to unlock the doors. We don't have enough creative locksmiths that can pick open teams like Ericsson and Luka Modric used to do, right? No number 6. Yep, I agree. Would you say Ange has not learned his lesson from last season because he hasn't got another way of playing? Well, these defensive stats, if these don't change, then he hasn't learned. So that's what needs to change, Lynn. Arsenal's defensive record better than us. Shocking. Yeah, surprise. Would you say that Arteta can change a game tactically than Ange? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. All that to the detriment of defending. Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. It's a shame Ange doesn't understand what you're talking about still. Do you know what, Toxic? I think he does understand. I just think he's stubborn. I just think he's very, very stubborn with it. And he just doesn't adapt to it, which he should do, especially when we don't have enough quality attackers to make sense of the attack. Still, opinion on what Ange said on Spurs challenging for the title this season. I think Ange is just talking waffle. I think he's absolutely talking out of his backside. We're not challenging for the league title, guys. Even if we go on a 10-game run, we're not going to challenge for the league title. Not whilst we're in the Europa Cup and the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. We haven't got a squad for it. Are people watching Man City? I mean, how do we even get close to them? Daniel Levy's ruined our club. Never replaced Kane. Yeah. Stel, who is the player tomorrow you're most worried about from us? Saka. I think he's quality, man. Scored 2 goals against us at the Emirates last season. And he scored, or was it 1 goal? And he scored against us at White Hart Lane as well. And just saying not intelligent enough to tweak and change anything. Well, if he doesn't, it'll be gone. If we score early tomorrow, I don't think you'll get past our defence. We got past your defence twice at the Emirates and twice at White Hart Lane, Angus. I wouldn't be so confident. North London Derby, I think we're scoring against you. I think we're scoring a couple of goals, but I don't think we're going to win. I think it's going to be 2-2. Alex Scott Experience says, Ange is just an actor. He knows he's on the way out and will get paid very... probably. Arsenal dominated us last season and we'll do it again. Ange will be stuck. Yeah, but didn't we give it to them? Like the set pieces, the zonal marking, we've kind of fixed that now. And they scored 2 goals from doing that. And we won't have Ben Davies at left back, Ricky. I think, look, I don't trust Ange and I don't like Daniel Levy, but I think we're underestimating ourselves a little bit in this game. I really do. Maybe I'll end up looking like an idiot and they'll batter us, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Mark says, still, if Spurs get rolled big time tomorrow, do you think fans will? Yes, I think they will turn on him. Absolutely. Especially if it's from defending errors and the high line. Yeah. Joe agrees Saka's the danger man. Not Sterling or Kai Havertz. No. Although Sterling tends to have a good game against us, I'm more worried about Saka. With Ange, in my humble opinion, is that he worries me how the media perceives him more than he worries about the... Yeah, I know. He's become like a media darling. Big up for the super chat, Soul Boy, who says, good show still for those people to see Ange is out of his depth. Defensively, yeah. Defensively, big time. But attacking-wise, mate, we're actually quite impressive. I know we're not scoring goals, and that's the killer, right? But except for that final piece, we're doing all the right things. Still, tomorrow we'll play exactly how we played last season. I agree you will. Arsenal, I know Man City never will be. And I agree with that too. Let's look at the players that are missing tomorrow. Let's get into it. So, Declan Rice got a red card against Brighton. He's suspended. And the other big one is Odegaard, who was substituted during Norway's UEFA Nations League win over Austria. Small ankle sprain. The team doctor confirmed. And then he was on crutches with the doctor. Or was that the captain of the plane? on his way back to the UK. So he's out as well. And Spurs are missing Bissouma, who got injured midweek in his international game as well. So the big question is, how bad is the miss of Declan Rice? Well, Arsenal's pass completion under pressure, Declan Rice is number 1. So he definitely makes them tick. Number 1 in the team. And when fans say, oh, but Thomas Partey can come and do the job. Well, Thomas Partey is actually 92.9%. He's 5th down. Martinelli, Saliba, Kai Havertz, much better. But let's be honest, these stats are all good, regardless. So in terms of passing the ball under pressure, Declan Rice is top. Partey can do the job. Defensively, I think Partey is just as good of a player as what Rice is. Maybe some will say Rice is slightly better, but I think they're fine without Partey. I don't think this is going to be a massive miss the way everyone's making it out to be. Although, off the ball, Declan Rice is definitely much better. And that's where Spurs need to exploit the space that will open up, because Declan Rice covers ground and positions himself far better, in my opinion. But in terms of the pass completion, that is a bit of a blow for Arsenal, but they've got plenty of other players that can do it. Odegaard. Now, this for me is the big miss, by the way. I like I said, I think Partey comes in, they'll be okay. This is the problem. Now, what you're looking at here is the amount of successful passes into the penalty area. So remember earlier on we said how Arsenal were second best in the league at final third passes attempted. There's a reason why they're second best. It's because of Martin Odegaard. They're all the players in the league. And look all the way out. Look at that green dot. Can you see it where it says 120? Yeah, that's Martin Odegaard. He is way ahead of the pack. In fact, he smashed it. That's what they're going to miss. So this statistic of Arsenal being the second best at final third passes attempted, which allows them to have the amount of touches in the opposition box, which they're first at, the overwhelming amount of that comes from this man here, Martin Odegaard. This is a massive blow to Arsenal. Be under no illusion, people. This is a blow. I can't believe how far ahead of everyone else he is. He's miles ahead. Who can come in and do that? Well, look, on this chart, there's no one even near him. So, missing Odegaard's a problem, and it will affect their attack. Any Arsenal fan that tells you otherwise, sorry, I've just presented to you exactly why it will affect you. So, if I was Arsenal, I would attack more down the wings instead of using Odegaard as that number 10 that tries to feed in players into the final third. Pass the ball deeper. Go down the wings where Spurs are going to be high up, or a ball over the top when we're on the high line, and feed in Saka, feed in Martinelli, feed in Raheem Sterling. Instead of using Odegaard to feed players higher up the pitch, playing balls into the final third, because you've lost that, Arsenal. If you attack us down the flanks, that's where your joy is going to come. But listen, if Spurs defend those flanks and force Arsenal into the middle, without this man, Arsenal are going to have problems. So if I was Spurs, I would defend a little bit wider, show Arsenal inside, down the middle, where Odegaard's missing. Let's see what they got. That's how I would go about this game, knowing that Odegaard's missing, simply because he's so freaking phenomenal at the passes into the penalty area. Let's see if Spurs tweak it, and they've spotted that. Let's see if Arsenal adjust, because they know how important Odegaard is at doing that. I don't think Declan Rice is the big miss in this game, people. I don't. I know he's a good player for Arsenal. I think Partey comes in and can do a job. The big miss is Odegaard. And I've explained to you what to do if you're an Arsenal fan, and I've explained to you what to do if you're a Spurs fan. How to weigh that to your advantage. Odegaard's the big miss. As for Basuma, well, he's been all right. Is it a big blow for Spurs? Probably not. We've got Bentancur. We've got Pape Sarr. Basuma's stats are extremely good at keeping possession as an individual. Extremely good. But in terms of creativity and playing balls into the final third, he's nowhere near what Odegaard brings. But they're different types of players. Basuma plays further deep. Odegaard's more higher up. So the big miss in this game for me is for Arsenal, and it's Martin Odegaard. That's the big one. Toxic Headshot says 5-2-3-1 is the formation I would play. Son Slanky up front. I agree. Or 3-5-2. Deluded Ange will be gone before Christmas. We're going to find out. Is Odegaard definitely out then? Yes, he's out, mate. He's out. Odegaard is not going to handle the wings if he plays. Well, he's going to be up against, is it Timber or Ben White? Both are good. What's the reason why we can't wear our home kit? Apparently, the Referees Association have said there's too much white on your kit, which is weird because for 140 years, it's not been a problem. Well, not 140, but a long time. Arteta will outmaneuver clueless Ange. Well, I've just explained what I would do, knowing that Odegaard's not there if I was an Arsenal fan. But I've also explained what we should do as Spurs fans, knowing that Odegaard's not there. Let's see what they do. I'll be looking for it tomorrow. Still, we should play Bergvall in a forward position, final third. Yeah, but where would you play him? Who would you drop? John says, what do you mean massive blow? Report says he plays. He's out, mate. Odegaard's out. He's out for 3 weeks. We have a player similar to Odegaard for us who might play tomorrow. Mate, he's a kid. If you're going to rest your hopes on a kid, you're clutching. No way. North London derby? Nah. At our ground. Crazy thinking. Wayne says we have absolutely zero of our midfielders that can deal with Declan Rice. Problem. But he's out. He's missing. Rice is a sideway merchant and Saka does the same shit all the time. Easy to stop, except we couldn't stop Saka last game, could we? Toxic. There is talk that Odegaard could... Mate, get off social media. Lynn, he's not playing. He's out. He was on crutches, look. His ankle was heavily wrapped as well. He's not playing. No chance. Ange has the first 11 to beat most teams, but Ange is too stubborn. His pride will get him sacked. What do we think about the Bentancur situation? I think he's going to get a ban. 100%. Cambo, it's a derby. Form goes out the window. We say this every year, but it doesn't. When Arsenal came to us, they were the better team. Did form go out the window? No. When Arsenal came to Spurs and Conte was our manager, did form go out the window? No. We were the better team that season and we beat them. I don't think this is about form going out the window, Cambo. I think this is about the injury. I think the Odegaard injury is key. I think that's the difference maker. I think that's the big difference maker. Bergvall instead of Kulu. We need to raise a star in the derby. Thing is, I'll play Kulu in the 8 and put Maddison in the 10. I don't think Bergvall's got the physical presence for this game. Maybe bring on Bergvall later on. I would absolutely love it if Mikel did that. Let's see if Mikel does that. I don't know. We're going to find out. I think everyone knows we don't have the players, tactics, or confidence to beat Arsenal. We've got the players for this game at home. I think we'll have the confidence if we start well. The tactics, however, the tactics. Nuno's much better than Ange, but didn't have the players needed. Thing is, Nuno lost the dressing room, man. We were losing. We were conceding 3 goals every single game. Conte came in with the same group of players and fixed the defence. So I don't know. I don't know. Arsenal for Life says, good show. Thank you. Thank you. Hello to you too. People are saying Bournemouth missed a penalty against Chelsea. Didn't Bournemouth miss a penalty when they played Newcastle as well? Remind me. I think they missed a penalty when they played Newcastle as well. Philly says, instead of giving the big uns in the summer, Arsenal should have bought a player who could provide competition for Odegaard and be there when he's injured, just like Spurs. They will find out the hard way. I'm telling you. That Odegaard misses big, guys. Yeah, they did miss a penalty. Yeah, I thought so. Freaking hell, Bournemouth, man. They could have beaten Newcastle and they could have been beating Chelsea. Talk about shooting yourselves in the foot. You were all for Arne Slot. What do you think now? I think it's his first season, 3 games in. Liverpool are still 2nd or 3rd in the league. Ange was undefeated in 10 games. Okay, well then let's come back to this after 10 games. I bet you Arne Slot has Liverpool in the top 4. Don't forget, Liverpool only signed 1 player. They only bought Chiesa, didn't they? Listen, for me, Arne Slot's going to do a good job there. This season, I think he'll be fine. Stel, do you think Ben White will bully Vicario like... No, I don't. No. If he does it again and Vicario does the same thing, then I give up. I just give up. Even Nielsen missed the penalty just like he did against Newcastle. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, look, guys, for me, I think that, you know, when I look at the stats comparison on Spurs' attack, we're higher up the pitch. We have more players that can receive the ball under pressure in the final third. The attacking comparisons are pretty similar. We're the best team at turning over the ball and pressing the ball. We give teams the least amount of passes before we get the ball off them. I think Spurs are going to put it on Arsenal. I said this all week. I think we're going to put one on you. And I think we're going to score from it as well. With Solanke back, I think we will score against Arsenal. I think we'll get a couple. But this scares the hell out of me. The amount of attacks that end up in our final third when we lose possession and the defensive comparisons are frightening, which is why I think Arsenal are going to score a couple as well. If Odegaard was playing, the number 1 player in the league at getting successful passes into the penalty area, which is why Arsenal were the 2nd best team at final third passes attempted and number 1 at touches in the opposition box. Now you've taken that away. I think that's why this game ends up as a draw. I think this is going to be 2-2. If Odegaard was playing, I'd give the game to Arsenal, but he's not playing. So I think it's going to be a draw. Spurs should really be able to win this, but, you know, those defensive stats are just shocking. It's just clueless. And Arsenal have got the players to hurt us, no problem. Saka, Raheem Sterling, Martinelli, Trossard. Havertz is in good form, I think. Yeah, I think they're going to get a couple of goals. Plus, they're the best team at set pieces as well. Let's see if we've improved, really improved in that area. I'm going for a 2-2 draw. What's your thoughts, guys? Let me know in the chat. Let's see what you guys think. Big up to you as well. Come on, you Spurs. Who's going to score our goals? Son normally gets a goal against Arsenal. I think Solanke might get a goal in his debut. Romero's always got a random goal in him. So between them, maybe Maddison will get a goal. Saka, Trossard, Sterling, Havertz will run you ragged. I don't think they're going to run us ragged. No, I think you're in for a bit of a surprise tomorrow. Just please win, Spurs, so I ain't got to hibernate again. Listen, if we lose, it's going to be carnage in that stadium. It's going to get toxic. Stel is bald. That's, what's the word? Useful. I just wrote, I hope Spurs get a point. So you're going 2-2 as well. Arsenal fan going 2-0. Uphill Gardner 2-1 to Arsenal. Tony, Stel, we're losing 3-0 if we do. Oh my God, it's going to be horrible, isn't it? I hope you're wrong. JJ says a draw. Dazza, 3-1 to the Arsenal. I have no faith. 3-1 to the Tottenham. And this is an Arsenal fan. This is crazy. 4-1 to Arsenal. Who else predicted 4-1? Someone predicted 4-1. Who was it? I was on a show and somebody predicted 4-1 to Arsenal. I can't remember. I need to remember who. Someone predicted 4-1 as well. Draw at best. Can't see us winning. I don't... never say never, but yeah, I agree with you, Robert. 5-0 to Spurs. Yeah, Sheriff. He had a few drinks tonight. Had a few drinks. Son is the only player I'm worried about. The fact you're worried about a player... I want us to win, but I know deep down they're going to smash us. I don't think they're going to smash us. Solanke needs to score or he's another Richarlison. Probably Stefan. No, it wasn't Stefan. It wasn't Stefan. Who was on the show? Was it Michael? Did Michael say 4-1? I think it might be Michael. Flash Errol says 1-1. 10 on Sterling to score. He normally does well against us, does Sterling. Wheels are going to fall off for Arsenal this season. I hope so. That'd be great to watch. If we lose, it'll get toxic fast. Yep. Hi, Stel. I was also going for a 2-2, but I think we might just sneak it 2-1. You never know. You never know. LA007. 3-2 to the Spurs. I have a gut feeling. The Sheriff. Yes, you are drinking. Jimmy Hotspur, we ain't getting nothing. We're losing by 1 or 2 goals. Yeah. It's such a mixed bag. Arsenal will win. Spurs will win. Draw. Arsenal are going to smash Spurs. Spurs are going to smash Arsenal. Like, there's no kind of consistent prediction here. It's just literally no one knows. That's what I'm seeing here. No one actually knows. I'm sticking with a draw. I think it's going to be 2-2. Listen, boys and girls, I'm going to wrap it up there. We'll be live tomorrow night. Our late night show. Spurs v Arsenal will be there. It's going to be a cracker, whatever happens. Big up to everyone in the chat tonight. Thank you so much, Soulboy, for the super chat. Respect to you, brother. And yeah, let's go and cheer on Bournemouth to beat Chelsea. Come on, Spurs. Please. Just win this one game. Just give us this one game. That's all I'm asking. Just beat the Arsenal. All right, people, take care. We'll be back live tomorrow. Big game. Let's see what happens. Ciao.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.